So over the years of us RVing, we've heard some truly bad RV advice. I mean, you could even say horrible RV advice. And if you really want to hear the worst one, you gotta stay to the end, and that might even make some of you angry. But for now, we're gonna get started, so strap in, here we go.
The first bad RV advice is, well, you don't need a water pressure regulator. I mean, everybody's got to have water that goes into your RV, right? We have been at parks where the PSI has been as low as 30 and as high as 120.
And if you have 120 PSI, I guarantee you it is going to blow some of the junctions apart in your pipes. Some of the intersections where this PEX goes into this thing and you got an intersection part, that's where they're going to blow. They're just usually plastic, y'all. And you don't want to suffer that, because that is a lot of fixing to do. You got to go in there and find the leak, and you'll be chasing that forever. We know people who have done that. Heck, we even have a relative who's had to do that. So
and the wife said, "You're not coming home until you fix the pipe." She was mad.
She was mad. I mean, you got a new RV or new to you RV and you can't even use it. So water pressure regulators are usually going to run you typically $20 to $30 these days. We're in the year 2024. Prices change. We have an all metal one. You can dial it up, dial it down. If you don't like that, they have some where you just plug and play. You put it in line and it decides for you. It's got a pre-programmed, I think Camco has one like that. I don't know what the number is, but it's pre-programmed in there. If you don't want to fuss with it, just get one of them. But save yourself, please. Always have a water pressure regulator, always.
And one thing we learned from experience is you also need a water pressure regulator if you're just filling up like a water can or something, because it will blow your filter. The first time we had a filter blow up, we're like, it was just a fluke. We didn't know why it had happened. So then we went to another place just to fill up our water cans again, because we like to have filtered water. And then it blew up again, and then that's when we knew that the water pressure was too high. So if it can blow up a water filter.
I mean, and we use a 2-stage water filter, so it should kind of reduce some of that pressure, but it didn't. It just literally cracked. I mean, use a water pressure regulator. Once you have it, and don't let it freeze. This is a little tip. Don't let it freeze in the winter time. Even if you have a heated hose, either wrap the stuffing out of that water pressure regulator or bring it inside. Other than that, you should be able to get by with just having one every few years, because ours has lasted quite a while now, because we've learned don't leave it out in the winter time.
Yeah, even that RV park we went to, and some RV parks are really good. They know right off the bat what their water pressure is going to be. And the one we went to, I think it was close to Moab, they're like, it's 120. You have to buy one of these. They were selling them at their store, but we already had one. And then there's some RV parks, they don't know. And they'll even give you bad advice and say, just take the water pressure regulator off. That's your problem. That's why you're not getting, enough water pressure.
Because water pressure is also variable. Even in that park, that one park I remember in Arizona where they said just take it off, it rose by like 20 PSI on its own. And here's another tip. What I always do now is, before I turn on our water at the new place, I always dial it down. Maybe not all the way, but I always dial it down so we know that the water is not going to blow anything up. And then I slowly increase it until it works.
So we have a fifth wheel, and bad RV advice that we have heard over and over again based on our content that we have shown is you don't need to do a tug test, or some people refer to it as a pull test.
So let's start out with saying what a tug test is, or the pull test is. It's when you go through your normal setup, you connect your breakaway cable, your electrical cable, everything. The kingpin is in the jaws, it's in the fifth wheel. The jaws appear to be locked, and then you raise up your landing gear, your front landing gear, like 2 inches, and I'll go over that later. And then your tailgate is obviously down, and then you're going to do the tug test. So here's what it is. You hop in your truck and you engage. There should be a little squeezer. And I know all of you gearheads out there, all of you wrenches out there, it's not called a squeezer, fine. It's your trailer brake. It's either integrated with your truck like ours is, or it's an aftermarket. But you squeeze it, you engage your trailer brakes, you put it in drive, and you ever so slightly hit the accelerator to make sure that the trailer doesn't go disengage and kaboom. So that's why we've raised your landing gear up just a couple of inches, because if it does drop, it's dropping vertically. And here's a word about your landing gear. I don't know what you have, but ours, they're hollow metal tubes. They can take the weight of your RV vertically all day, every day, twice on Sundays, all the time. There's no problems. But if you leave it on the ground as you're doing your tug test, then you're putting sideways pressure or lateral forces on something that's a hollow tube. And what do you think's going to happen? It's going to damage them. So here's what you do for ultimate safety. Do your tug test. Raise your landing gear up a couple of inches. If it drops, then you know, and it saves you. If you don't do the tug test, then what could possibly happen is go on YouTube. You'll see a plethora of other RV YouTubers whose RVs have dropped on their they've dropped on their truck, damaging the truck, damaging the RV.
It's horrible.
It is horrible, and you wouldn't want that to happen as you're like, maybe let's say it doesn't happen immediately. Let's say you're strolling through the campground, you're only going 10 miles an hour, but that's when it drops. Let's say you make it out to a local road and that's when it separates. You don't want it to hurt anybody else or anything else. You want to have your property intact, and you don't want anybody else to be affected by it. Doing a tug test, we've also heard this. People say to us, but you can tell, which you can. You can tell. You can see the jaws are locked. On our particular model, you can see that the handle goes in. It only goes in when it's locked. But should I rely on that? What do you think?
I mean, it only takes like a couple more seconds to do a tug test, so why not just do a tug test? And one more thing about the tug test too, we leave the tires chopped.
Yes, we do.
So that's another
just to make sure that the trailer is not going to roll.
Yeah.
Because if the trailer is standing still, then it's a better tell if you're coupled together or not. And you need to do the tug test properly. So you don't know if mechanics are going to fail. Your fifth wheel hitch could fail. You could look at it and go, by golly, that looks like it's secure. I've been a truck driver for 30 years. Well, guess what? I used to be a truck driver too. It doesn't hurt to do a tug test. I have seen countless other truckers when I used to be a truck driver and when I used to work at a warehouse or a loading dock, both truckers would do a tug test. You should always do one no matter what it looks like to you, because it's just safe and it doesn't take long.
I'm thinking, I don't know, a lot of people might not want to do the tug test because of time. Like, you're one of those people that wait till the last minute to check out of the RV site, and you're like,
You know who you are.
Yeah, I gotta go, but just get up like 5 minutes earlier or something like that. No, it doesn't take 5 minutes to do it, but safety first.
You want to take your time to do it. Even though, as Sean said, it doesn't take very long, we've heard a saying, and we try to live by this: slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Again, we did not come up with this. It's been well known. A lot of groups use it. A lot of people use it. Just repeat it after me. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Because if you're not going slow and you're not taking your time to do it right, then you're going to have to do it twice or 3 times or something bad happens. And that is not fast. So slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
All right, y'all, this is a topic that we try to stay away from as much as possible. We don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole, but we're going to talk about it here. And that is what type of vehicle you need to tow an RV with.
And the bad advice comes in like this. It's actually not a piece of bad advice as in which specific vehicle that you should not get. Not from us. The bad advice comes from your RV dealer. And you all know it's true. We've even heard RV dealers admit to this. Don't let your RV dealer, whether you're buying new, used, or anything else, or even anybody, let's say, Ma and Pa Kettle down the road are selling you an RV. Oh, it can tow it, it's fine. That beast can tow anything. You're going to get in trouble. If not legally, you're going to get in trouble down the road because your equipment is not going to be able to handle it properly. You might not have the right brakes, the right suspension. Your axles, your tires might not be able to handle it. You might not have the right payload. I know I'm talking kind of fast, but there's a whole laundry list. I mean, put it in the comments below if you know a thing or two about not having the right tow vehicle, because your RV dealer, I'm sorry to say, I know they're human beings and we love them and we care about them, but they don't care for the most part. They just don't care.
They just want the sale.
They just want the sale. I'm not saying they're all like that. Some of them are honest. Some of them have integrity. Some of them know, hey, I don't know what you can tow. You got to do your own research. There are some like that. But for the most part, they just aren't going to care. That's your job. So look in the sticker. There should be a sticker on every truck and SUV, every car that's ever been sold in this country, I think, that tells you what your payload capacity is. All of this stuff, and you should be able to figure it out. If not, you should be able to call your manufacturer, call your dealer. You can look it up on the internet. You should know ahead of time what your limits are, and don't let the big glorious fifth wheel that you look at that's 45 feet long and weighs 22,000 pounds and you show up with a Ford Ranger. Don't do that. That's just wrong.
And we, just to give a little bit of perspective, like a little story, we met somebody, I forgot what type of truck they had, but they had a powerful enough truck to where it could tow the fifth wheel that they had. But then the husband decided he didn't want the truck anymore. He sold it and he got a lesser truck, and the woman was the one that did the driving. And she said before the truck was in control, now I feel like the RV is pushing the truck. To kind of give you an example of, to make sure you have enough truck for whatever type of RV you're gonna get.
And this has absolutely nothing to do with gas versus diesel. It has nothing to do with long bed versus short bed. It has nothing to do with Toyota, Chevy, Dodge, GM, Ford. I don't know if Fiat makes trucks, but whatever. It doesn't have anything to do with any of those things. I don't care if you have a little tiny, battery powered truck. Whatever it is, it has a payload capacity, it has a towing capacity, it has weight limits, it has all that stuff. And if you don't know what those are, I guarantee you, if you find a Facebook group for your make and model of your truck, which they all exist, get on there and ask them, because there are lots of people, trust me, lots of people out there who live to answer these questions.
And then the other thing, if you already have your vehicle, then just get the rig that your vehicle is allowed. I mean, like, you just want to get out there and that's all you have, then just get the rig that your tow vehicle will tow. The next bad RV advice is, well, you don't need a water filter. All the water that you get from the spigot should be good to drink and cook with and everything.
So
we've seen some things, y'all.
We've seen some things, and all you have to do is turn on the news. For example, let's say you live in a particular town or city. Let's say you have a Sticks and Bricks. And every single month, at least when we lived in Mississippi, they came out with a water report and they told you, did they pass, did they fail? Ours always passed, but if you're in a place like, I don't know, Flint, Michigan, they've had water trouble. Jackson, Mississippi, they've had water trouble. Different locales have water trouble, and you won't know about it till afterwards, because the reports don't come out till after it happened. Nobody's fortune telling here, so you've got to be prepared.
And two things with that is, each RV park or campground is different. Your water filter will last as long as the water that's contaminating it, that it's filtering out. Like, we've had a filter that we've had to replace within a month, and we've had a filter that could last 3 months. I think the prime is 3 months, but you'll know that you had really I mean, we've taken the filter out and it's looked like one place, it was like dirt, was like sand or something was going through the filter or something. You just never know. And then the other thing is your fellow RVers, they wash all kinds of stuff right there at the spigot. We've seen them stick their sewer hose up on the faucet and stuff, and then that residue's left there. So if anything, at least clean it with a Clorox wipe, but at least filter that water. I mean, you don't know what, you know what I mean. Not getting graphic.
That's just gross. But we've seen a lot of, they take their sewer hose and here's the water faucet, they just right over there, and it's like, I'm sorry, but even if you can't see anything, even if, we've heard, we turn it on for a few seconds. We do that trick sometimes too. That doesn't mean it's clean. Get a water filter. Save your tummy the extra trouble that it might have otherwise. Even if you don't drink the water right from your tap, it doesn't hurt, y'all. Just save yourself. Get a water filter.
Because you don't know what the person did before you got to that water spigot, right? If you're gonna get your water at a dump station, sometimes dump stations have the water further away, but still filter it and stuff like that. Do we have like a 3 filter thing?
We have a 2-stage system. It has a big dirt guard, which is 20 microns. It's a big, huge honking thing. And then we have the Clear 2.0, and we're not sponsored, by the way. We're not sponsored for anything in this video, but we have the Clear 2.0 1 micron that comes after that. So the first one acts as like a big sediment dirt guard, and the second one is your big purification. There are big Mac Daddy several $100 systems, but you don't need that. At least get you a little blue one, which is 20 microns. At least start with something. Anything is better than nothing.
That's what we started with. And then we do have a 3rd filter, mainly for our drinking, and I think our ice maker and maybe cooking. We have a Brita, so a Brita filter, so the water. And a lot of people have those Berkeley, is it
Berkey?
Berkey.
Berkey.
Why do I call it Berkeley? That's a college, right? Berkeley. Anyway, so we have the Brita. So our drinking water, cooking water, and ice maker and stuff goes through a, I guess, 3-stage, because you got the dirt filter, the other, and that.
And we have the in-stream pitchers. So you fill it with regular faucet water, and then as you're pouring it, it filters. Y'all, another truly bad piece of RV advice that we consistently get, shamefully enough, is that you just don't need to lock things up. You just don't. Who's gonna steal it?
Yeah, some of the advice we've been given is, what type of RV parks are you staying at to where you need to lock stuff up? We lock our surge protector up. We take an extra step and put locks on our X-Chocks. We have a kingpin lock for our 5th wheel. We changed out our RV door locks and baggage locks. Yeah, even when we just step outside the RV to walk around, we lock the door, because we've heard of a story of someone leaving their door unlocked, and they literally just walked around their RV to do something. They came back in and someone was already in their RV.
It really does happen. I tell you what, it's so funny, because as soon as we post a video or a post or a blog or anything about locking things up, all of a sudden everybody's an expert thief. It's like everybody's a criminal now, because they all tell you, well, that won't do any good. That'll take me 5 seconds to break into that. You're bragging about this? Really? I mean, come on, people. Brag about something worth bragging about, not that. So.
And I mean, just look at the e-bikes. That's the hot topic, right?
Oh, yes.
They get stolen left and right. We have friends, personal friends, that have gotten bikes stolen. We know of another content creator where I think they've had 3 or 4 e-bikes stolen.
And they weren't always locked up, I have to admit. So lock things up.
So, I mean, I think if you lock your stuff up, then the thief will be like, oh, that's too much of a hassle. I mean, if they really want it, they're going to take it. But the thing is, if there's another one next door that has wide open bay doors, and a lot of people leave their bay, I've seen people leave for the day, their bay doors are wide open, and there's all their stuff for grabs, right?
Now, in a perfect world, you don't want anybody's stuff to get stolen.
No.
We personally do not. We're Bible-believing Christians. We don't want anybody to get their stuff ripped off. However, it happens. So at least slow them down. I mean, my goodness, if your lock is not going to stop a dedicated thief, at least it might slow them down. Or at least it might make them say, like Sean said, you know what?
Yeah.
There's easy pickings down the road. Not that you want them to get their stuff stolen, but if you got to watch out for at least one person, watch out for your stuff. You paid for it, or somebody gave it to you. The point is, it's yours. And it's so easy to lock things up. There's more that we could do that we're considering taking other measures on. Just lock it up. It is worth it. Even if all the thieves come out and all of a sudden say, oh, that's so easy to break that lock. Well.
Yeah, especially the high ticket items, like if it does get stolen, it's not as easy to replace. But we have even heard of stuff like sewer hose getting stolen. Like, why would you want to steal someone's used sewer hose? Maybe because you got there and you weren't prepared and you're gonna go take someone else's. You can easily get probably one of those at Walmart, but the things that you can lock up that are very valuable, like your doors, your bay doors, your, what is that, the surge protector thing, they're expensive, so.
And I'm gonna throw this out there too. This is not what this video is about, but it's another free piece of advice. Bonus content for free. And that is, on the most expensive items, there are a lot of good options these days for tracking technologies. I do know there are some e-bikes where maybe the batteries have built-in trackers, or the e-bike itself does. Or you could, there are devices that you could put on your RV that you could track it. It's a service you pay for. And I'm not just talking about AirTags either. There are other GPS-enabled services. So there's the old-fashioned low jack. There are other more advanced things that have come out since then. Start looking into that for your most precious devices, even on our phones. I mean, heck, everybody knows by now, at least if you don't, you do now, that you can locate most smartphones these days anywhere in the world if it's online. If you do that with your expensive phone, you should be doing it with other expensive things. So start looking into that and put in the comments below if you have any good ideas for people about that, because we would like you to share your experience so we can all learn.
Yeah, it's very important, and it's good advice actually to be security minded.
Yes, it is. You paid for it. You might as well keep it.
All right, y'all. The next one, I'm going to throw Matthew for a loop.
I don't even know what she's about to say.
We have heard this and we have seen this. A lot of people think if you have a short bed truck, bad advice is you don't need a sliding hitch.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that is so true. So listen, I think that's bad advice not to consider that you have a fifth wheel trailer and not to consider getting an automatic sliding hitch or even a manual sliding hitch. So here's how it goes. People say, well, I'll just learn to turn as much as I can. But you know what? We have multiple friends who have smashed windows, and either they did not have a sliding hitch or they had a manual one, which I don't for the life of me know why they make manual sliding hitches. I just don't get the purpose of it. They have a manual sliding hitch that they didn't engage the hitch. They didn't engage the sliding mechanism in the hitch. Listen, we're not sponsored, so we're just going to tell you that we do have a sliding hitch. It's an automatic sliding hitch, and it works really well. We have even gone into a parking lot and we've jackknifed it on purpose. And I know it's not good for the tires, not good for blah, blah, blah. I get it. But you have to know what your limits are, right?
You just did it to see, because you could be in that situation. So, and we have a video about it too, but.
You're getting to a campground. And let's say it's one like we've been to where everybody lines up. And I'm not joking. They all line up and they're going like this, looking down the road at you, backing in. And everybody's got their popcorn, and that's pretty much how it happens. You know it does, even if you don't see them. And so you're nervous, and your partner is out there trying to back you in. You're like, oh, this stinks. I hate this.
Hurry up, hurry up. Just
hurry up, turn the wheel, crash. Oh, there goes the window. You want to be able to not have to think about it. Sliding hitches are bigger. They're heavier.
Yeah.
So you have to have the right truck for it. You have to have enough payload for it, but they're so worth it. Even if you get a manual one. I know I don't really understand the purpose of a part-time sliding hitch, but if that's what you have or if that's what you can afford, get it and use it, because you'll be grateful that you don't have to worry about it. Don't damage your truck. Don't damage your RV. Get a sliding hitch if you don't have your equipment yet and you want a short bed truck. We're not going to go into the argument of long bed versus short bed. That's up to you to decide. There are good arguments either way, but know what your equipment needs.
Another bad RV advice that we seem to get a lot in comments on our content, and we've seen it elsewhere, is you do not need gloves for handling the sewer hose, aka Stinky Slinky. It is called Stinky Slinky for a reason.
We get so many people who are so passionate about this, but we're calling it bad RV advice. Listen, everybody gets their own opinion. I do, she does, you do. That's fine. Everybody does it their own way, but I'm calling it bad advice because have you ever heard of cross-contamination? When you're rinsing out your sewer hose, some people take a hose and water hose and they spray it out. Or let's say you're storing it in that tube. Ours goes in a tube underneath the RV, right? And it crinkles up. It shakes around. When you leave it on the ground, you're putting it on the ground where other people have had their sewer hose. Do you know how many horrific practices we've seen? People who just, their stuff dumps everywhere because they don't know what they're doing. We've also seen people spray out their sewer hose right there at the campsite, like just everywhere on the ground. I mean, we've seen people stick their sewer hose, as we've already mentioned, in the faucet. So all of that is touching your sewer hose. It's cross-contamination. Like she said, it's called Stinky Slinky because there's stinky stuff in there. It's not unicorns and fairy tales going through that. It's waste product. So just...
Waste, is that politically correct?
That's the PC version, waste product. That's what we're calling it here. We're not getting any more graphic than that, I promise you. You don't need to hide the kids.
Well, one thing I was going to mention also, y'all, when you go down the road, I mean, we have a Valterra valve, but still, you have to take off. Well, he does it. I don't do it. But you have to take off that cap, and I see it. Liquid comes a little bit out because you bounce down the road, right? And then,
yep. So all of that contaminates. Everything gets a little contaminated. So is it going to kill you? Probably not. But is it going to ruin your day? Maybe upset a few tummies? Is it just gross? Absolutely. So you can use the same pair of like gloves that you'd use to wash dishes. I've seen people do that. You can use your good old-fashioned leather gloves for working outside. I use nitro gloves, 9mm nitro gloves. They go up to about here. You can get them at Harbor Freight. We're not sponsored, although we should be. They're beautiful. They're really, really thick, and they don't break like food prep gloves, nursing gloves. Those really thin ones tend to not be worth very much for a sewer hose, but use what works for you. You can get them anywhere.
It looks like Matthew's going in for surgery when he puts them on, because he's like, you know, because they fit.
They're thick, so they take some effort to...
So, yeah. And then after you're done with the sewer hose, then either dispose of them or whatever gloves you use before you go and touch your electric and your water or whatever order it is. Because I have seen people, they're using the gloves, but then they're done with the sewer and then they're handling, I'm like...
Use a glove. It doesn't take much money and it doesn't take much effort to just put on a glove. And it's just going to save you a little bit of trouble down the road, and it's worthwhile. It's just a good practice to get into. So we're saying that's bad RV advice, not wearing a glove when you're dealing with a sewer hose. And Sean has mentioned before to me, make sure you use a Clorox wipe, and I have adopted that practice because that's my job. Take a Clorox wipe, or even the generic ones. I think we've switched to them now. And just wipe down the surfaces that you've touched with your glove. And that way, everything is clean for the next time.
So keep your hands safe, glove up. That's how you do it, glove up.
All right, y'all, you ready for the last one? It's the last one. It is by far the worst piece of advice that we've ever heard for RVing. And it might make some of you angry, but we'll just get through this together. All right, you ready? The worst piece of advice we've ever heard is that you do not need an RV inspection. And I'm going to take that further. Anytime you buy from a dealer, new, used, you buy from a private seller, and Ethel gives you her RV, I don't care. It is foolish. And I'm going to say that again. It's foolish not to get an RV inspection done by a qualified RV inspector or somebody with that kind of experience. What do you think?
I agree, because based on our experience, before we ever started RVing, we went two routes. The first route, we were going to get a used. It turned out to be a lemon. If we would not have gotten the inspection, he said we probably would have hated RV life and just given up on it, because we were starting off wanting to, that was going to be our home.
And there are certain things that all of us, listen, we all have eyes, right? We're not dumb people. Neither are you. Everybody watching this episode, I'm sure, is very smart, very capable. If you see the wall cracking apart, if you see the laminate falling off on the outside, you see the tires are, smushed up like a pretzel, obviously those are signs that it's not good. But what about the things you can't see? You're like, all right, I've been RVing for a few years. I know everything. Well, do you? If you want to get an RV and you want to buy it, either you need to be an RV inspector certified, or you need to be an RV technician, or you need to be one of these people who not only can they fix everything, but they actually have experience with RV maintenance and RV repairs. You are the kind of people who can do it yourself. But for everybody else, all of the people who think they know everything, but they don't, here are 3 reasons why you need to hire an RV inspector. Number 1, if you're buying from a dealer, either new or used, they ought to be fixing this stuff. And if you can't get them to fix it, that brings up to point number 2. Number 1, let me go back to that. You want it fixed before you pick up the RV. Before you sign your name on that line, guess what's going to happen? Once you sign your name, then you go into the general maintenance pool with everybody else. I don't care what kind of lifetime warranty they give you. I've even heard of some dealerships give you a warranty for the rest of your ownership of that vehicle. Fine, that's great. But you have to go in the same pool. And how long have we heard people spend their RV spend in maintenance?
It's been months.
Yeah, it could be months in an RV shop, in an RV dealership. So number two, let's say the RV dealer doesn't want to fix anything before you sign it. All right, negotiating. Man, you can start negotiating down the price. Hey, buddy, it needs new axles, it needs new leaf springs, it needs new this, the hydraulics are leaking, the front cap is falling off. Cut me a deal, man. I mean, come on. So negotiating the price. And the third reason is, let's say they're not going to fix it. They're not going to negotiate on the price. And Ethel is giving you her old RV, and it was built in the 70s, and she never changed the tires, let alone took care of anything. That's exactly why you need an RV inspection. You're not going to say, Aunt Ethel, you owe me some money. Come on. No, it's not for that. It's for you. It's so you don't get it out in the middle of nowhere and all of a sudden really bad stuff happens. It could be that you can't afford to fix everything right away. We can't always afford to take care of stuff immediately when it happens, but if you know about it, then you know what to expect. You know what not to do until you get this fixed.
Well, the other thing is, we have heard, I mean, look, this didn't happen to us because our dealer allowed it, but we have heard of RV dealers not allowing. Then you need to find another dealer if they won't allow you to get a private independent inspection, because some RV dealers are like, oh, we inspect it for you. We don't allow you to pick the inspector.
No, walk away. And I'm not kidding. I don't care how much you like that RV. No matter how much you love it, other people are going to have it. Somewhere else they're going to sell it. Walk away if they won't let you get a private inspection. The dealers do what's called a PDI. So does the manufacturers. What is that worth? A used tissue. That's what it's worth sometimes. Honestly.
His analogies, y'all.
Some companies are better than others. You should have to get your own inspection. If you're going to spend $100,000 on a townhome, you're going to get it inspected, right? I mean, come on. Of course you are. The mortgage company won't give you a choice. They will not give you the money unless you do.
And a lot of RVs are over $100,000.
Oh, especially these days. Ours, the one we bought in 2021, has really gone up in price.
Right.
So why, if you're going to buy a house, even if you're going to buy, you know, in some states you buy apartments. If you're buying an apartment, buying a condo, something like that, why in the world would you get that inspected, but not, you know, a rolling earthquake where everything goes all the time as you're going down the road? Why wouldn't you inspect that ahead of time to see how good it is before you ever start? It's going to wear out, but you want it to be good before it wears out. You want to know what you need to fix, if it's not perfect, if it's not brand new. And as much as you think you know, you're not an RV inspector, you're not an RV technician, or you haven't been working on them. You're not the right person for it. You want that RV, so you're not looking right. You need to hire somebody.
A funny story, I mean, it wasn't funny at the time that we went through it, but our inspector, does he spend about, the one that we picked, spend about 4 to 5 hours on each time he inspects it?
Because they're a team of 2 people. They have 2 people working on it. And so they go top to bottom and do everything.
So he inspected this first one and he gave us this report. It was horrible. So we told the dealer not taking it or whatever. So then I think a month or 2 later, we're like, okay, let's go a different route. We picked a totally different manufacturer. We're like, let's try new this time, but we're still getting it inspected. So the inspectors came out and inspected it and stuff. And then our dealer called Matthew and was like, have you heard from the inspector yet? I'm like getting nervous. Because they were really thorough, y'all. And that gave us confidence. Was it a chunk of change? Yeah, but that what's the word I'm looking for?
Peace of mind.
That peace of mind, yeah.
So, what do y'all think of all the bad advice that we've listed? Did we miss anything? Tell us, in your opinion, what bad advice have you heard? Or, I mean, you know, do you disagree with us on anything that we've listed? Put that in the comments below. I know.
He's opening the can, y'all.
We're all adults here. We can talk about it. We can have a civilized discussion. And by the way, if you want a qualified inspector, again, we're not sponsored, but it's the best organization I know of to tell you about, the NRVIA. We'll put that link down below too. Not sponsored, but we'll put their link. They have a website where you can see where all of their qualified inspectors are around the country, and that'll give you a good place to start.
And that's where we picked ours, right?
That is actually, yeah, they're listed on there.
But if you disagree with us, we just say keep it family friendly in the comments.
Oh yeah, use as many facts and experiences as you can. help people out with your experience. Help all of us learn from you. That is really one of the points of this channel, is community helping community.
What's amazing is we learn a lot, not just on YouTube, but Facebook and stuff like that. People put stuff in the comments.
Yes,
like,
we
oh,
do.
Never heard of that before, or that's a great tip and stuff like that. And other people read that. We know that they read the comments because they let us know that we saw this on one of your comments and stuff. So
let's keep it positive, but keep it honest, and let's just help each other out. Put all your comments down below, and we really appreciate you.